Yeah, I heard Mr. Speed say he will bend the law as much, but he will not break it. I don't know if you heard that.
He told me that himself. He would
Exactly.
bend it, spit on it, throw it along and fling it.
All right, folks, another interview. Greetings. I'm your host, Eddie Gona. This time I'm joined by a very special guest as usual. Always a special guest. And this time around, I'm with Mark Bennett. He's the president of the Southeast Confed and also Cassava president. Mr. Bennett, how you doing and happy doing here?
Happy New Year to you and your viewers. I'm quite happy to be here. Mm,
All right, then. Great to have you.
mm.
I know you don't do much interviews, but I hope the fans and the viewers can consider themselves lucky for this one. Exclusive.
Uh,
All right, and he also is a board member currently.
Currently board member, yes, of the
Right,
JFL. Mm.
right. So first of all, congrats on your victory over Mr. Roger Simmons. Landslide, Mr. Bennett, 20 votes to 6. How did you, got that under your belt, got that win?
Well, as I said at that the election, that what Mr. Simmons came into the election late. He was put up by the St. Catherine FA. But it would have always been a uphill, a uphill task for him. The St. Thomas FA would have signaled their support for my candidacy, and I would have been on the ground speaking to the clubs within St. Catherine and also St. Thomas, and also to the referee groups. And although the St. Thomas FA came with a vote or one or two short, to a T, the St. Thomas, every voting delegate from St. Thomas supported the candidacy, and I believe three or four from St. Catherine also supported my candidacy. And let me just say this too: it's I did not really see just as solely Mark Bennett. It's really about the candidacy of Kasafa.
Right.
They would have seen what Kasafa has stood for over the years in terms of representation at the highest level, in terms of what we would have done in terms of our league's whole organizational structure. And I believe the clubs and their administrators wanted to see persons from Kasafa who would help them, along similar lines. So it was part and parcel all of that, and I remain real grateful for them. And we're chomping at the bits, ready to go, just to improve the football within the region.
Yeah, and just to touch a little bit on that, you're, ready to improve the region, but what else can the region expect from you being a representative?
Uh, for sure, when we put aside what we want to see within the region in terms of football harmonization of the different youth leagues, um, organizational building and the organizational strengths of the administrators and so on. As a representative of the region, they can be assured that I will be an independent director in the boardroom. In the boardroom, I'm not saying that we have not had persons in the boardroom from this region who were not independent before. But given what would have gone on in the last couple of years, you would have seen the mismanagement that, that would have gone on at the JFF level, the many missteps, and you would have seen the slates that were put out there in terms of one slate composed primarily Well, the primary, all the members of that slate are current members of the board,
Yeah.
and and that is saying that they are satisfied with what would have gone on before. Certainly, I am not satisfied, and your viewers, a large a large amount of Jamaicans are not satisfied with what would have gone on, and I'm not going into that boardroom to rubber stamp anything. Let me tell you, I've been in that boardroom just a short time, albeit a short time.
How
Um,
many years?
uh, being active in that room, I went to my first board meeting in April of 2023. And the
Oh,
last, yes, and the last board meeting was in, well, face to face at least, that was in November. So, a very short time, right?
short time, yeah.
And it has left me dissatisfied.
But you've seen a lot in that short time.
A lot. During that period, I've seen a lot to tell me that, which tells me that, you know, there's a lot of things that needs to change. Let me tell you something. I consider myself as one who went to a Sunday school, and we are running an organization of $1 billion organization, and you want to present to the board a financial a budget
Mm-hmm.
24 hours before a board meeting, a budget, and you expect that the board members, the directors, should approve that budget at the board meeting. Less than 24 hours, you know.
Yeah.
That's utter nonsense. No private organization run that way. None.
Yeah.
The smallest organization that has budget of 100 million, 50 million, 20 million, 10 million does not operate that way. I don't know none of the board members say if they General Secretary and Mr. Speed um, having any financial background. Having a financial background. How can you actually faithfully review the budget that was presented to you? You're doing a disservice to yourself and to the
Mm-hmm.
country. And you know, every single not every single person, but there have been persons objected to it. And interestingly, I can tell you, the objections all came from members who later supported um, the RSA team.
Yeah.
That's not
Builder.
that's just not how we operate business. And I'm not one that is going into a board and rubber stamp things because FIFA wants it tomorrow. Um, CONCACAF needs it tomorrow, and for the sake of getting things out, you know, we don't want them to say that we are late with
Yeah.
stuff. I'm not going to go along with that.
So they put the board members in a tight spot and say, look, you have to do this for Jamaica, so
For
approve
Jamaica,
this or whatever in
and we
24
are,
hours.
and taking that approach has never really served us in the long run. Never ever. I'm not saying that I know everything and that I'm
Right.
correct, but I want to ensure that whatever I'm doing is correct. And if if I'm wrong, you need to say to me the position that you have put forward, Mr. Bennett. A is wrong. B is wrong. So on that basis, all of the premises are wrong. So on that basis, your conclusion is wrong. So, but you don't get that. You don't get that challenge in terms of, well, whatever you don't get that opportunity. It's, hey, we need this thing done. Let's get it out of here. And I was when I reflect on the operations over the couple months that I've been there, it's amazing that, you know, it's amazing where we are now, where we reach in terms of our operations and how we got there. It's amazing. But again, when you think again, it's not surprising that we have had many missteps in terms of management of our human resource, management of our financial resource because of that. That's those sort of operation. I believe that what I've seen in 7 months being active in the boardroom, it's an example of what would have gone on before. I might be wrong, but I've not seen
Mm-hmm.
anything to tell me that I'm wrong.
All right, interesting take.
Mm.
And you know, persons might say you're a little bit different from Mr. Anderson, because Mr. Anderson, you know, been in it for years.
Mm.
You know, but at least you've seen the light, so to speak, after 7 months. And
I,
for folks,
and I want
go
to be,
ahead.
I want us to be fair to Mr. Anderson. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Anderson is a team player. Mr. Anderson won't necessarily come out and say some of the stuff, but I can tell you,
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Anderson would have been speaking before. And folks have to remember, you know, when Michael Ricketts ran for presidency, Mr. Raymond Anderson did not support him. Raymond Anderson was part of the team of Ambassador Stuart Stevenson team. He did oppose the candidacy of Michael Ricketts because he did not believe that Michael Ricketts was the fit and proper to be the
Mm-hmm.
leader. Right? And people have to understand that. And certainly within the 7 months I've been there, there are issues that he would have led on, would have spoken about. You know, but Mr. Anderson is not going to come on a radio program and speak about that.
Yeah, understand. And just to inform the public, you are one of 4 board members out of 11 that have secured your ticket, pretty much. So another 7 to be decided.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know when, you know, based on what's going on. Elections were scheduled for Sunday, January 14. That has been postponed for at least another 28 days by the Supreme Court.
Mm-hmm.
So we see a lot of activities, Mr. Bennett, especially from the appeals committee.
Mm-hmm.
News broke now that the 6 parish associations are now ineligible to
Mm-hmm.
vote. Hanover, Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, St. James, Trelawney, Manchester. Failure to register with the
Mm-hmm.
company's office. What impact you think this will have on the election now?
Well, first and foremost, I want to say I've not seen the decisions that were handed down by the appeal
Mm-hmm.
body. I'm just going merely what news report and what some of my colleagues would have communicated to me over the phone. I'm a supporter of the RSA team. I'm not an active campaign member, and so I, I want to be careful in terms of what I would say on the
Mm-hmm.
on the matter because have not seen it for me to say
Right.
this is a. But my understanding so far that 7 parishes were ruled ineligible to participate to
So not
vote.
6,
Yes, six. Sorry,
6, yeah, yeah.
6 were ruled that way because it was 6 that was presented to the appeals body, and in addition to another matter, I was informed that the issue of the beach Jamaica and
Beach
the
soccer, yeah.
beach Jamaica beach yes, beach football Jamaica Limited. That's the one that is headed by 2 of the board members, Bruce Gay and Patrick Malcolm,
Right.
and the entity that purports to represent the coaches in this country. That matter was referred back to the appeals body, right? For your listeners, I want to go into some things that I do know. The the election committee that is run by Mr. Chris Samuda, they would have presented to the appeals body in response to the complaints that was made by the RST team that the issue of membership as it relates to those 2 bodies, they were unable to act because no such power existed under the constitution or the election code. So
Right.
they were not able to challenge the membership of those 2 bodies. The appeal body itself said no, that interpretation is wrong. You do have the power to decide that, to decide whether or not these entities have voting rights. Now, how did we get there? let's leave the parishes alone. Just for how did we get to this situation? We have an organization. That organization, Beach Football, was formed after the cutoff point of June 30th, and several board members, either directors or are members of the organization, and the board, the board, which comprise the majority members of Mr. Ricketts' team, approved this body to become a member of the JFF. You know, I don't know anywhere in the world where you have governance rule will tell you that is wrong. You can't be a part of a board. Let's say you're a part of a board and a contract is coming up. You are aware of the contract and the tender details, and you leave and go and register the company to know in turn come and bid on that contract. Yeah. You will not get it. As a matter of fact, you probably be disqualified from the directorship. And this is what we have had. This is what we have. You know, I at a board meeting in Montego Bay urged the president not to do this thing. I told him this step will forever cast shadow on the integrity of the organization. It will also cast a shadow on the company's office of Jamaica, because what it will be showing that persons have abused the process of registration. You have the director, Mr. Gainan, signing that he has witnessed all of these persons their declaration that they are directors of the company, and we have seen evidence. We have seen evidence to contradict at least one of those signatories to the document. No, some people say that the problem with one signature doesn't invalidate the others. No, it doesn't really. It may not, but the whole integrity of the process is questionable. Right.
Yeah, you're left unsure with others.
Yes, you know. Now we move to the Coaches Association, Mr. Speed Coaching Association. The Constitution mentioned another coaching association that was there long ago, 2008, 2009. Right? Yes, they have members. They do have members. CASAFA would have conducted seminars during COVID. And as recent as February, I think it's February or April 2023, with directors from that coaching association. So for persons to come and say they have been defunct and inactive, Mr. Speeder went ahead and registered a company. No, he was unable to register it as Jamaica Coaches Association because that name would be too close to the existing Coaches Association.
Yeah.
No, let me tell you what happened. No, any board member can come and challenge me. The application was made, and every single pronouncement that came from the general secretary referred to that body as Coaches Association, Jamaica Coaches Association. Every single occasion, every document. We went to a board meeting and we were given a folder with a checklist and the names of the different applicants and the years that they would have satisfied. And on that list, you have Mr. Vin Blaine's body, and then you have the entity by Mr. Speed. And what was there was Coaches Association. Coaches Association. That's the name of the entity. In the end, that's the entity that was approved at the board. That's the name that was approved at Congress. Right. Lo and behold, when I, along with other persons, made checks, to see if there's in fact a body by the name of Coaches Association that is registered at company office. None exists. What we found was an entity by the name of Jamaica Administrators and something else. When I wrote the General Secretary and the other directors to say, on what basis did you present to the board that the Jamaica Coaches Association had a certificate of incorporation, right? His response was that no, they did not have it. There's a company by the name of X, JM, whatever, and within that company's articles, they refer to themselves as Jamaica Coaches Association. Mr. Chung, let me tell you so that you're telling us rubbish. For an entity to exist according to FIFA rule, he has to have a certificate of incorporation in his name. No, okay? Jamaica Coaches Association. What should have happened? The JM, whatever administrators limited, should have gone and obtained a trading name where they could trade as Jamaica Coaches Association. Right? Because that probably would have been acceptable because it is a document that is coming out of the company's office. Right? No, to say this company in law that you're talking about, that was given membership, is a ghost company. It's a ghost company, and at no time at Congress at board meeting, you told the membership this. It's an omission, a deliberate omission to disclose. He said, oh, the documents were there and all the directors were free to ask for it and peruse it. No, every board meeting that we have gone to, when you come to the board meeting, the documents that you are going to use, they are presented in a folder with you. The financial statement, the reports of the different parish association, technical committee report. No such document was presented. What was presented was the applicants, a checklist with the applicants, different applicants, and the different criteria that each body will have to meet. That's what was presented. We all believe that the body, the name of the entity was Jamaica Coaches Association. In law, no such company exists. Right? That's how we got there with those to come. No, people must understand it's all part of the election politics, you know. It's not about building a membership. It's election, straight election hearing.
There's some of the stuff you're saying now, Mr. Bennett, sound very blatant. Very blatant.
Look here.
And it's like they're manipulating the board.
Look here, they're manipulating the board. The board is. I don't want to get in trouble. Let me tell you something.
But it seems as if the appeals committee look like they're the one that's going to decide the election and not the voters. Based on what's going on.
In the end, that may very happen. I told them, not because you have the right or the power to do something, doesn't mean that you have the power to do something, but you also have a responsibility to do it in the right way. You have that responsibility, and that's where we have gone wrong. And let me tell you, all of this is not surprising to me, you know. I'm going to say this. It's not surprising to me because I tell you, in 2014 when I ran on the Stuart Stevens slate, when Stuart was running for presidency, we were given a voters list a couple days before the election. And let me tell you this, that's the first time I'm going to say this. We were given a voters list of all the clubs and organizations that would contest, would cast a vote in the election. On that list were at least one organization. It was the very first time affiliates of CASAFA knew about that body. I think what is some futsal, street football, blind football, something or the other. It may have been more than one. That was the very first time we knew about that entity. And you know why? The council, the constitution gives the council the right to give anybody affiliation. So it's a manipulation. Huh? And the key thing about that, despite coming up against the incumbent who control the machinery, Stuart Stevenson still won the election. Despite the efforts to pack votes. And again, we are seeing the same thing now in the JFF. The pattern of behavior is there. It is there. Out of those organizations that I told you about that were given voting rights to the election, they all disappear immediately after the election, after the incumbent last election. So that tells you that they were never genuine organization. And the practitioners are still around. The practitioners, the engineers of that are still around.
Yeah, I heard Mr. Speed say he will bend the law as much, but he will not break it. I don't know if you heard that.
He told me that himself. He will bend it, spit on it, throw it along and fling it.
But persons will say, a lot of people will say it is all part of politics. And I know people to play devil's advocate, they will say RSA might be doing some similar tactics as well. So if you want to be balanced, person might say the same, but it's all with the culture, as I said before.
Let's say this here. The referee group, Intercal, ISA, all of those bodies were there. And based on what I know, the RSA team would have contacted them and say, hey, this is what happened. Get your stuff together. Put your thing in. The RSA did not go in there and take over those organizations. The RSA team did not farm competing bodies to those organizations because we recognize that they exist and there's a structure there. And those organizations on their own did what they needed to have been done. It's a complete different thing. What we're seeing here is these people farming organizations to supplant members of the body, the members that were listed in the Constitution. I told them at the board meeting that these bodies already exist. So there was no need for them to go through an application process and apply to become members. Their name as members, you're a member. And the only time you can lose that membership is as if you contribute a role and you're expelled. Look here.
And they already voted in the past.
Yes. So. The president, when he was pressed at the last Congress in December to say why beat soccer was not accepted based on the process that they set up. Why they was not accepted? You know what the president said when he was pressed? Oh, they did not pay their subscription. No, the mere fact that you said someone paid subscription tells you that person was a member. But the truth about it, none of the entities they paid any subscription. Parish Association, none of them. PFJ, none of them. So why was Beat Soccer singled out? People talk about, because of our history in this country with politics, we have accepted malfeasance as a part and parcel of it. It's not so. And if people operate, if people are willing to rig the process there, what else would they not do? They're in charge of $1 billion entity. What else they would not do? We have to understand enough. It's part of these things speaks about your integrity, your character. Yeah. Huh? So somebody come and tell you about his part of politics. Do we want to build another Donald Trump out here? Look here. People can talk. A lot of people would have jumped on me and talk things. Not because they talk it. And many times they said, oh, it won't be true. For example, let us go to the parish association, the matter of the parish association. I've heard reports of persons saying that the board and Congress would have waived the registration requirements of parish association. No such thing happened. You cannot find a minutes for a board meeting to say that. You will not find a Congress minister to say that. And anyone who repeats that He's a liar. It was never done. But why there is a need for someone to come now and say that? Why is that need for someone to come and say that? It's to cover up. And I'm saying, people, regardless of who the person is, you have affinity for the person, their accomplishment. Just think, if someone is willing to do these things, what else will they not do? I'm not, look here, I'm not saying that I'm holy, but just look out here, look at these things. Right? These are smoking guns.
Right. All right, Mr. Bennett, let's talk. We're going to wrap up in a few, but let's talk about Raymond and this slate. If you want to say man for man, you know, how would you compare it with that of Ricketts? What are they?
Chastity.
Yeah, it's a very powerful lineup, you know, but the naysayers will say that it's not really a football, you know,
look here,
because we have, you know,
look here, football people,
and all of that. So what you have to say about
football people have been running football for years, and where they have gotten us. And we are not talking about 2 World Cup. Jamaica has reached 2 World Cup. We all know. We are not blind. We know how we got there. Look here. The administration cannot point to any detailed plan of activities that led to those qualifications. They cannot. We know how we got there. Football people have been running the football for years. Where it has gotten us in terms of a solid administration, one that can build an industry where players in the Premier League, in the professional league, earn an income, a livable wage. A livable wage. What it has gotten. These administrators get up and create leagues upon leagues and force you, the club, to jump through hoops to compete in them, to compete in these bodies, and you don't get anything in return. You need people to think. If you're asking clubs to do X, you have to look at what is the impact, the financial outlay that is required. Are you going to provide money for this? Or the marketing is good. You need these people. Let me tell you, when I took over in Kasafa, you know what they said? Mark Bennett, team weak. This team is weak. You know what we did? We recognize that I don't have no marketing skills. I don't have no marketing skills beyond what I was taught when I was doing tertiary studies. But we put together a team together, headed by Mark McDonald, who was a former club president, who works at Rear Neville. You know. Then we had several persons, Pietro, Italian, and Darcy Lewis, from the Caribbean, has a lot of marketing experience. We put those persons together, and they have led the way in terms with our marketing. Today we are a better footing. Mark McDonald heads our financial committee. When he came in for the very first time, I've been part of administration from my way in my 20s, minor league association. You know, it was the first time I've seen a real costing was done. What did it cost an association to run a competition? We know the cost overhead. They say it's going to cost $4 million, but really break it down and to say for every team that you add to this competition is X amount of money. You're going to have 20 teams and 30 teams have applied. This is how your costs increase. It takes people the competence to drive this drive. So think about football people. I'm not saying a man that who was a successful coach or player and can be a good administrator. You know, when FIFA came here, they said we must have vice president in charge of who has technical expertise, legal expertise, administration. And you know what we did? We just said we want the 4 vice president, and there's no specific portfolio attached to them. That's what we did. So now you're going to have a farmer being shot, a farmer, no disrespect to the farmer, but being asked to market $1 billion business. We tell me about football. We need that mixture. We need that mixture, and
that is true.
and with the Ricketts team, it is not there. But we also need people of integrity. And when I say this, you can't, as a director, seeing what has gone wrong, complain about what has gone wrong, complain in board meeting, complain in your writings, and you join. It's a marriage of convenience. It's a marriage to be there because you want to be in the room. You still want to be in the room. It's a marriage because if you were complaining and ask for the body to operate a particular way, and you're ignored, but suddenly an election is here, and you are now co-opted. They say, "Come and join us." Why they did that? It's because of the votes. As soon as the election is over, the dust has settled. Your voice will be ignored again because the persons who have the influence, the real influence, they are still there in the room. They are still there, no matter whatever title that was given to you. The persons with the real influence, the real voice, they are there. They don't need no title because they are the voice behind the throne. Right? We need competent people, and that is the sole reason. Look here, I respect a lot of the directors because they have been in the trenches for years. They have been there. But we have to understand competency is a key thing. Competency and integrity. It means that might also mean that rules me out. I have no problem because it's a voluntary thing. I don't have a right to be there. I don't have an absolute right to be a director of the JFF. But what I want to ensure, I want to see competent people in there so that everyone that is involved in the football can get.
Hold on, Mr. Ben. No, yeah, but after after this, it's a voluntary. Is it really?
It is.
All the positions are voluntary?
It is. You get a stipend to attend board meetings. You get a stipend to attend board meetings. That's what you get. And that's what you are entitled to. Some persons I know, especially Kasafa people that would not over the years probably they have not taken it, they have not gone on trips on anything. For sure, I can tell you.
Yeah,
it's really a voluntary. So the question is, if it's a voluntary thing, why do we cling to it like that?
Yeah.
Why do we cling to? Why is it that we are willing to cut corners? Why are we willing to cut corners? Why are we willing to do things that will give rise to people to question our integrity? Why? Look here, I am comfortable in my skin. I'm comfortable. I have some people, some person that know me, Mark, you're still living where I thought by now, you're big man. I'm comfortable where I am. So I don't need the trappings of no office to enjoy football or give off my service. I don't need it. So I don't know why. I leave the
Who
list.
winning, Mr. Bennett? Who's going to win in one word? Who winning the election in one word?
Look here. It all comes down to I'm gonna say this. As soon as we start out this thing in terms of the eligibility of the parties to vote, and once there is a fair process that is free of rigging, I believe that the RSA team will win. Honestly, I've told you before. I've seen vote rigging in 2014. I've seen it, and then incumbent Rhoda was very confident. He went on here and said that Carlos, and he was voted out of office. So, history have a way of repeating itself.
Right. Two more questions. I heard in an interview recently, and you said that the JFF was giving FIFA money to pretty much spend in the parishes, and that was not done. You want to talk on that and where the money might have gone?
I'm aware that I think it's at 2.7 or 1.7 million dollars that was allotted to the parishes. The Premier League clubs got some monies also. The parishes were given, I think, about $1 million. And there was a balance of 1.7. I think that 700,000 was for female development in the parishes. Now, in December, November, when I took over as president from Mr. Shaw, my predecessor, Mr. Shaw informed me that there is a balance that is to be paid over to the parish, that is owing to the parishes. We did a development program, development league at the JFF Center, and there was some money that was outstanding. And we had a discussion with Mr. Dennis Chung and told him that, okay, let us offset that money that is owing by CASAFA against the balance of the COVID money. And he said, fine, nothing wrong with that. They agreed. A member of Mr. Chung's office wrote to us confirming that that money was there and they will offset the money. Months down the road, when the JFF refused to pay the balance of the $1 million that was supposed to come to us by way of the U15 competition, they had a balance to us. I think it was 500,000 or 600,000, somewhere along the line there. They said that no, they are holding on to this money because we have a balance outstanding. I was saying, we're balanced. As it don't stand, the JFF have a credit. There's credit for us there because we had owed 800,000 to use the facilities, and there was a credit there at JFF for $1.7 million. So at that time, Mr. Chung come and said, no. So I made inquiries. Mr. Chung wrote me back to say that money, the COVID money, was diverted upon a request to FIFA for Jamaica to use that money to cover some game expense, international game expense. I think it was one of those countries, Cameroon, I think, if my memory serves me right. And I'm saying,
friendly.
Yes, I'm saying, where did the authorization for that came? Because I've not seen any board minutes from between November and at the time when I asked for it to say the board had approved that reallocation. He said, oh, FIFA. I said, FIFA? But FIFA already dispensed the money to the association.
Right.
FIFA already sent the money to the JFF. So was the FIFA. Then all the executive management committee of the JFF. But I said the management committee, which comprises the vice presidents and the president and the GenSec, don't have that authority to supersede a board decision that was taken. All the funds would be allocated. But that's how they operate. That's how they operate. And I'll tell you something. Some of the parishes were complaining. St. Thomas, St. Anne's, and St. Thomas, St. Mary, they have always put it on their questions for the board meeting. St. Catherine, I know, my good friend, my colleague there in St. Catherine, they all asked for the money. Westmoreland, they all were asking for the money. Those parishes, I can tell you, along with CASAFA. But election year, nobody asks again. No one asks. Everybody cover each other. Nobody asks for money. But you are talking now. We're not representing ourselves. We're representing our association. And that money is for the association. And no one came to the wider board to say, we need permission to utilize this money to cover the expense of the game in Cameroon. It was not done. It was a smaller group that made that decision because they know best what is for Jamaica football. The international game that needed to be played. You know, people benefit. These are people who are making decisions about using other association money and not involving them in the decision. But they themselves stand to benefit because, of course, they will be in Cameroon. You know.
Right. You're kind of running from the camera. Yeah, not shift over.
Yeah. Yes, they, as I said, they would have benefit because, you know, of course, you know, we usually have board members that accompany a company team.
They travel on the trips,
Yeah,
first
yes.
class, and all
I'm
that.
not saying that the board members don't have valid reason to be with the team, as the head of delegation, because I'm certain there are some important duties that they needed to be there to carry out and to ensure that everything goes right. But you know, so many times we have the board members there, and we have had so many hiccups. People have a right to question the reason why they.
Purpose.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Bennett. Before you go, one last question. Possibly we're faced with a ban from FIFA. Should the Jamaican public football fans be worried if if FIFA just hand down the hammer?
I really don't believe that we will get there. I really don't believe. I have faith that FIFA will sort out. The matter will be sorted out with FIFA's guidance. I really don't believe that we'll get there. I do know persons are trying to get people get some bans going. But I don't really believe that we'll see a normalization committee or
Right.
anything like that. I certainly don't believe so. I believe that good sense will prevail, and FIFA, having all the facts before them, now will be able to act and guide the process. I believe we will see that. They're in position now to know that there were some persons trying to tip the scales, and I believe they will balance it out and ensure that we have an election, and we will have a winner.
All right. All right. So some good news there for fans. All right, people. Hopefully no ban. And I would love to hear from the other side. But
Yeah.
for now, people, I know person might say, oh, we need to balance it off. But hopefully we can get Mr. Speed on the program or one of those
And I will tell you this. There are two issues that I've raised with Mr. Speed, and I did mention Mr. Speed, and they are indisputable fact. One, the issue of the unknown entities that were listed in the 2014 CASAF election, and the issue of with whether the parish association were waived their registration rights were waived at the board meeting or at Congress. That never happened. It just never happened.
Right.
And
All right,
Mr. Chief
folks.
challenged me on that. Yes.
All right, I want to thank Mr. Mark Bennett. Big up yourself, sir, and Sir Bennett, and thanks for joining me. I know I don't do a lot of interviews, but I hope we can have further discussions in the future whenever time something arise.
Yeah.
As with the JFF, there's always something. So I
That's,
hope we keep the link and we can contact later on. So, but thank you very much for joining me.
thank you for having me.